Hi guys, how's it going? Ivano here with a quick tip for all PowerTech and Vanguard players. And today's tip is about a passive ability that I think is really underrated. What am I talking about? Well, I'm of course talking about Reflective Armor. Reflective Armor, the level 64 choice in the combat style tree. You can read for yourself what it does, but basically every time you trigger into the fray, you will deal some elemental damage to your attacker as long as they are within 10 meters. So to understand what this actually means, we need to find out what Into the Fray does. Now, if you've been playing PowerTech for as long as I have, then you might remember this passive, but it was originally introduced in 2.0, I think, the Rise of the Hut Cartel expansion. You will not find it in the ability tree, but you need to click up here under abilities and find the Into the Fray passive. By the way, this of course also works on PowerTech. There it's called Close and Personal. And Into the Fray does different things. First of all, it is a passive that increases the duration of your reactive shield by 3 seconds. So this is why PowerTechs and Vanguards have a slightly longer lasting shield compared to mercenaries. But then the second fact is the one that actually triggers our Reflective Armor. And it reads, in addition, suffering direct damage from area attacks regenerates some energy and heals you for 2.5% of your total health once every 3 seconds. So basically every time you get hit with a direct damage AoE, you regen some energy and you heal a little bit. This is what then in turn triggers your Reflective Armor. So this passive will always trigger if you get hit with an AoE. And as long as you're spec'd into Reflective Armor, then you will also do some extra damage to your attacker as long as they're within 10 meter range. So that's what it does. Note, of course, that it only works on direct damage from area attacks. So no damage over time effects such as Plasma Probe. And they need to be an AoE effect. So this is very good if you're playing against a lot of Vengeance Juggernauts who are spamming their Slam. If you're playing versus Pyro PTs who are of course spamming their Flame Sweep or Searing Wave. And yeah, Smash for Rage Juggernauts as well. So if any of those hit you, then once every 3 seconds, you'll get a little passive heal, a little extra energy back. And if you're spec'd into Reflective Armor, which you should, you will do damage for free. So how does it look in practice? Let's look at a little video. So here I'm attacking the Silver Mob. He hits me with an AoE, and even though I am not attacking him at all, I do 951 damage for free. So this is how it works. It doesn't really look spectacular, but again, it's free damage. Next up, let's look at a combat log, and you can see here in this fight, which lasted a little more than 11 minutes, I did a total of 14 million damage. And out of that, a little bit more than 400k came from Into the Fray via the Reflective Armor talent. So in this fight, just from this passive damage, I gained a little bit more than 580 DPS. Let's look at another combat log of a game that I played yesterday. So this was a shorter fight, only 1 minute 39, but here Into the Fray it did a total of 855 DPS. So that's pretty nice and definitely the highest damage option out of those level 64 talents. Alright, so when do you want to use it? Well, I pretty much use it all the time now. It is of course extremely good if you're playing against a lot of melees because of the 10 meter condition. So if you're facing a lot of tanks, if you're facing a lot of Vengeance Juggernauts, this talent is really, really good. Of course, you're giving up suppressive tools, but then again, this slow is really not that needed if you're playing PowerTech Vanguard, and especially if you're running the 15 meter range on most of your core abilities, you should not have a lot of trouble staying on target anyway. And yeah, 60% less AoE damage taken from frontline defense is also nice, but then again, let the healers do some of the work. Damage is king, so that's why nowadays I always run Reflective Armor. So how to use that? Just make sure that you're spec'd into it and then find some melees in a war zone, stand next to them and make sure to get hit by their AoEs. Really simple. Of course, only do that when you can survive it. So when you have a heal on your team or some cooldowns ready. And as I already said, keep in mind that this does not work against dots. So don't just stand in Plasma Probe and complain to me why this tip is not working for you. That's it for today, guys. A little tip for all PowerTech and Vanguard players that I hope you enjoyed. I think PowerTech Vanguard is really unique in this game in the way that sometimes you have to charge in there and take damage in order to do damage. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, please remember to leave this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.